Welcome back, guys. Favorite trainer Capley from Capley Fitness. I'm excited because we are continuing the Unlocking Efficiency series, so I'm going to give you tips in order to help make your lifts more efficient and more proficient. Today we are talking about sticking points in the deadlifts. And for those of you who are just tuning in today or don't know my background, I currently hold the Canadian National Deadlift record, and I've also broken an IPF world record, so I know a little bit about the deadlift, and I also coach athletes as well, so these tips are coming from experience. So basically, we're going to go over 3 common sticking points. So it's going to be if you get stuck off the ground. Then in the next 2 videos coming up, we're going to talk about when you get stuck at the knees, when you get stuck at the hip, at the lockout. So let's get into it. One of the main things when you're getting stuck off the floor, honestly, it's usually going to be an underlying strength issue. But luckily, there are other things we can address. So the first thing is, what is your form looking at? When you're pulling, is your hip moving a lot before you actually start to initiate the pull, before the bar actually leaves the ground? So I'm going to post a little example in the corner of the screen of what I mean, but oftentimes you'll see lifters who, they'll go on the internet and just look at one of their favorite powerlifters and just try and mimic their form, but because everyone has different levers and everyone's built differently, what works for one person isn't going to work for the next person. So when you're setting up, a good rule of thumb is think of, do you feel tension in your hamstrings? And that's going to be a good starting point, because if you're starting too low and you don't feel that tension in your hamstrings, you're going to use wasted energy as your hips rise before you start actually pulling the bar up. And we don't want to make any movement that's not actually contributing to lifting the bar. So that's why it's going to be important to have that good setup. The second thing we're going to talk about is, are you pulling the slack out of the bar? So pulling the slack out of the bar can honestly have its own video, but basically, really quickly, when you're pulling the slack of the bar, you're going to create a lot of tension, and it's almost like you're about to lift the bar, and like when you pull the slack of the bar, as I'll show you in the corner, you will see the bar raise a little bit without the weight actually coming off the ground, and it all has to do with the tension you're creating as you're getting into that setup. Number 3 is we're going to talk about accessory lifts or other exercises you can use to kind of strengthen your pull from the bottom. So one of the biggest ones is deficit deadlifts. So disclaimer, deficit deadlifts are a little bit harder, especially if you don't have a good range of motion. So they aren't going to be a good lift for everyone if you have bad hip mobility, but it can be a really great exercise to help you strengthen your pull from the bottom. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to stand on an elevated platform, and so it's going to increase the range of motion that you have to pull, and because of this, it's going to make you stronger at the bottom. So those are 3 things you can address if you struggle at the bottom. So stay tuned. The next video we're going to talk about if you're sticking points at your knees. If there's anything you guys want me to cover, let me know in the comments below. And if you guys have been following me, you know I just launched my Patreon account, which is going to have lots of resources to help you get stronger. So support me so I can keep making these videos, keep providing you guys with content. And yeah, so as always, train hard, train smart, see results, get fit, and we will catch you next time.